Okay, hi everyone. I just wanted to go over a couple things. So we're onto the chapter about clarity, and you know, when I am reading your first drafts, I am looking mostly at content, but there are times that I'm also marking up sentences that are either fragments or that are just grammatically unclear. And it's true for most readers that if they stumble across sentences that are not grammatically correct, even if they don't recognize the problems with the grammar, that they will stop reading, or that their thinking around your story is going to get muddled, simply because if, for instance, you have a pronoun that is referring to an ambiguous person. So if you have, she took her cap from her hand, and you have two women in there, you don't know who the she is, who the her is, right? So just trying to be as clear as possible, and reading your story out loud really helps with that clarity. So I come back to that again. Also, here's a little trick: is reading your story backwards. So starting with the first sentence. So in other words, if you have like 4 pages in front of you, start with the last sentence on the fourth page and read that sentence, and then read the sentence above it, above it, above it. Because if you do that, your mind actually will separate those sentences out, and you'll see them more clearly. So that's just a little editorial trick. Before I continue on with what I want to say today, I do want to point out that some of you are not watching the video. Now, I'm probably preaching to the choir, considering that if you're watching this video, you're probably somebody who watches the videos. But I had some people not watch the last video about the assignment, and they were confused. And I do want you to please watch these videos. I will keep them mercifully brief. That is my contract with you. But I do want to introduce, the themes of the week, the ideas, and hopefully clarifies things when necessary. So I will ask in your quiz to write down the one salient fact that came out of this video. So if you want to write that down for yourself at some point, go ahead. Okay. All right. So yeah, the grammar, punctuation. Some of you are still having problems with punctuating dialogue, and that the Khan Academy, which I have posted, it's also under our course materials, and I've sent to some of you. Look at that website. They are generally pretty good about explaining punctuation. So punctuating dialogue is something that I find particularly bothersome, because it can be so easily cleared up. So if you're struggling with that, just go and watch one of those videos, and or come into my office hours, and I will be happy to go through it with you, answer any questions you have. It's not rocket science. You will get it. You will get it, and then that will not bother you in subsequent classes or your story writing. So the other thing that I'm running into with, in reading the final drafts, and now reading your new drafts for this story number 2, is not situating us enough in terms of the dramatic moment. Excuse me. So my question is always, why is today different than any other day, right? Why are you beginning the story at this moment? So if it's just a day like any other, maybe that's not where you want to begin your story, right? Your story has to begin at an unsettled moment, a moment of where something is a little bit different, where the character's off for some reason. Otherwise, you don't have tension, you don't have a dramatic question, okay? And some of your stories read more like character sketches than actual stories, where you're doing a great job giving us the character, describing, either the main character or the character that main character's is interacting with, but not really giving us a reason for this particular story, this particular unfolding of events. So that is important. Again, as you're doing your reading, think back, look at what is how other writers are doing it. That really will be your best teacher, is looking at these models. How is Tandolfo the Great? How is that day a little different than other days? How is St. Lucy's Home for Girls Girls Raised by Wolves different, right? How is Jubilee's story different? How do these stories start out with an unsettled situation? okay, that then leads to some kind of internal change. Now, I'm not pretending this is easy at all, but I want you to just pay really close attention to that. So when you're going back into these drafts, into the story number 2, you're really working towards that. All right. That's what I want to have as your focus in this next go round with your stories is really getting at that unsettled situation in the beginning, so that we have the sense that, a drama is about to unfold. The other thing is situating us in terms of time and space. If I'm wondering where are these characters as they're talking, or, where is this even happening, then I'm too distracted to be focusing on what's going on, what you are putting on the page. So, weaving in setting, weaving in sensual imagery that is other than just visual. All right, people use the eyes a lot. The eyes are that sort of go to, windows of the soul, but there's so much else besides the eyes that gives us, that transmits messages, right? Agendas. People use their bodies all the time to even belie the words that they're saying. So, we've talked before about contradictions. Somebody might be saying I love you, but their body is telling you something very different, right? Or the tone of their voice. So, looking for those contradictions, looking for the way a person sits in the chair, the way a person might tap on a table, going into a character's house. Does the character have a chandelier hanging from the ceiling? Does the character have a bare, bulb hanging from the ceiling? So much of that tells us about the character's aesthetics, tastes, the character's, how the character's social class, how the character's living right now. So just thinking through those things, right? When you enter a room, you're very conscious of that stuff, okay? Particularly if you're going over to see somebody you care about, right? Because you get so much information from what surrounds you. All right, I'm going to leave you with that, as I promised. I'm not going to make it long. But please do write down, whatever the takeaway is for you from this video, and it can be more than one. And I will ask about it in the quiz, and I want you to make that your focus for this week, okay? As you really, concentrate on your writing, on your revising of story number 2, if you've received enough feedback about that story yet. If not, you'll be working on that for next week. But let it also dictate how you read the example stories, the model stories. Okay. Again, we'll leave you with that. Okay. Bye-bye.